Before you celebrate the latest Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 8 leaks, pause. The narrative sounds great on paper: bigger battery, thinner and lighter design, telephoto and ultra-wide upgrades, crease reduction, maybe even S Pen support returning. But stack these claims side by side, and the story starts to wobble. Physics, product history, and Samsung's own strategy suggest several red flags that buyers should consider before taking these rumors as gospel. Let's break down what's being claimed and why a lot of it doesn't pass the sniff test. The 200MP main camera, unchanged, isn't the win it's being sold as. The leak frames the 200MP primary sensor staying put as a positive. In reality, keeping the same main sensor in a new generation foldable is a strategic hold, not an upgrade. Foldables have less depth to work with for lens stacks, stabilization hardware, and heat dissipation. If Samsung isn't changing the optics, stabilization travel, or sensor size, you shouldn't expect night and day differences in dynamic range, motion freeze, or low light sharpness. Real leaps come from larger sensors, faster lenses, more robust OIS ISP pipelines, and better thermal headroom, none of which are guaranteed by same 200MP. Revised tuning. On a foldable especially, software tuning can't fully compensate for physical constraints. The 12MP 3x telephoto upgrade is modest at best, moving from 10MP to 12MP, and calling it a telephoto breakthrough is marketing by numbers. In 2026, 3x is table stakes on premium phones, not a headline feature. Telephoto lenses in slim bodies struggle in low light. Most phones silently switch back to cropping the main sensor at night because the tele lens gathers too little light. A 2MP bump won't change that physics. If competitors keep pushing 5x periscope or higher with larger apertures and better OIS, a 3x on a foldable won't meaningfully close the zoom gap, especially for distant subjects. Concerts, travel, and wildlife. The 50MP ultra-wide claim ignores the real bottleneck. From 12MP to 50MP ultra-wide sounds huge until you remember most 50MP smartphone sensors are quad-Bayer and bend down to approximately 12.5MP output. If the sensor isn't significantly larger and the lens isn't upgraded, edge softness, distortion correction, and flare remain the limiting factors. Ultra-wide quality depends on lens design and sensor size more than raw megapixels. Without bigger glass, better coatings, and improved edge-to-edge sharpness, the leap in detail will be subtle in real-world shots. Expect big marketing numbers. Small visible differences, especially at night or indoors, where ultra-wides already struggle. No under-display camera. As a virtue isn't the whole story, the leak frames a conventional 10MP selfie camera as a conservative, quality first choice. But on a book-style foldable, the inner display camera experience matters as much as the cover shooter. If Samsung truly avoids an under-display camera on the inner screen, the immersive big screen experience takes a hit. If they keep one with low resolution, image quality lags. Either way, the selfie story remains compromised unless both cameras get meaningful upgrades. Calling this a win ignores the foldable's core promise. No compromise. Big screen USA BILITY. Thinner and lighter by approximately 10% while jumping to 5000 mAh? That math is shaky. You can't have a significantly thinner, lighter chassis and a much larger battery without trade-offs. Battery cells add mass. Stronger hinge components add mass. Larger camera stacks add mass. Add them together and weight goes up, not down. A 5000 amp pack split across two halves must be protected from flex, heat, and puncture. That typically requires thicker shielding, more adhesive, and reinforced frames, not less. If the device truly gets thinner and lighter while gaining battery, something else gives: thermal headroom, speaker volume, camera module height, wireless charging coil size, or overall rigidity. The leak doesn't say where the compromise lands. Laser drilling to reduce the crease sounds clever, but the crease isn't primarily a metal problem. the crease is a function of bending radius, hinge geometry, panel stack thickness, and UTG ultra-thin glass characteristics. Micro-perforating, or laser drilling, a metal support plate doesn't magically eliminate the visible crease. It might even risk structural uniformity. If not executed perfectly, real crease improvements usually come from re-engineered hinges that distribute stress over a wider area and from UPDA TED display stacks that tolerate tighter bends. That's complex, iterative mechanical work, not a single metal machining trick. Expect less noticeable, not gone. Anything more is wishful thinking. S-Pen return is a moving goalposty. Rumor hints that S-Pen support might return, implying a previous removal. The reality is more nuanced. Foldables have oscillated between accessory compatibility and deeper integration. But a true silo, like Galaxy S Ultra, has not coexisted with a radically thinner body. If Samsung prioritizes thinness and weight, an internal silo is unlikely. If they bring the pen back as an accessory only, that's not a breakthrough, it's business as usual. The only meaningful S-Pen upgrade will be native housing without sacrificing battery, cameras, or durability. That's a hard triangle to solve in a foldable. A bigger battery doesn't guarantee better battery life. Foldables light up more pixels, run more complex hinge animations, and juggle multi-window tasks. A higher capacity battery balances those loads. It doesn't automatically deliver longer screen-on time without a confirmed next-gen efficient chipset, smarter power management on larger displays, and faster standby optimization. The 5,000 mAh equals all-day beast narrative is premature. Charging speeds matter too. If fast charging remains conservative, recharge times will feel slower relative to rivals, pushing 45 to 80 W and beyond. The camera story still lacks the one upgrade that changes everything. Foldable cameras lag slab flagships primarily because of depth constraints. The single clearest camera leap will be a periscope telephoto with larger aperture and advanced OIS, plus a bigger ultra-wide sensor with stabilized optics. None of that is guaranteed by 12 MP3X and 50 MP ultra-wide. If Samsung doesn't fundamentally rework the optics stack, the Fold 8 will still trail the best camera phones, despite the big number headlines. Design durability versus drop protection is the quiet trade-off. Going thinner and lighter can feel great in hand, but it can also reduce drop resilience, dent resistance, and torsional rigidity. On a foldable with a larger footprint, that risk multiplies. If Samsung actually makes the frame slimmer and the panels lighter, users should watch for how the company addresses durability, frame materials, corner reinforcement, and hinge shock absorption. Release timing expectations don't match Samsung's playbook. Mid-2026 framing is vague. Samsung's foldable cadence has historically aligned with summer launches and high-visibility unpacked events. Anything outside that pattern should be treated with caution until regulatory filings and certifications. Surface. Real signals to watch: model number certifications, battery listings with nominal capacity, ISP modem references in firmware, and supply chain panel shipments. Until those lock in, timelines are guesswork. What a credible Galaxy Z Fold 8 upgrade package would look like: optics, 5x or higher periscope with wider aperture and robust OIS, a bigger ultra-wide sensor with improved edge sharpness, meaningful ISP gains, not just tuning tweaks, displays, a refined hinge that distributes stress to genuinely reduce crease visibility, brightness and PWM improvements that benefit both the inner and cover screens, battery and thermals, capacity balanced by better thermal dissipation and sustained performance, especially in camera and multitasking scenarios, pen integration, either a true silo or a smarter accessory experience that doesn't bulk up the case, alongside lower latency and expanded software features for note-taking and creative work.